One. Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially on lockdown. I haven't been out of my house in like a week, and I'm going stir crazy. There's no sports to talk about, no work to do, so somehow I'm still here. Good afternoon and welcome to the podcast. I'm Nick Drago. Today on the show, I still have no sports to discuss, so we're going to talk about NFL free agency. And boy, was it a doozy. Quarterback carousel up the wazoo, and of course, my good friend Joe Calabro from GoLocalProv.com will be here to talk all about the Patriots drama. Stick with us, friends, because sports starts now. And welcome to the Sports Podcast with me, your host, Nick Drago. For those of you that are new to the program, usually we like to talk about all the sports news information from the previous week and give you some insight onto what's going to be expected for the next week. Unfortunately, we have no sports to talk about. NFL free agency did go off without a hitch this week, so we're going to talk all about the quarterback carousel today. And of course, we got Joe Calabro joining us a little bit later in the show. But it's going to be, this is basically it. So welcome, newcomers. Welcome, old friends. Hope you are enjoying your week wherever you may be it Florida, North Carolina, Mumbai. Yeah, we get some overseas viewers, all right? Just letting you guys know. So, what have I been doing? Well, sitting around in my underwear. No, I actually do work. Telehealth is the new big thing, so my patients out there, I'm having lots of lovely conversation with them at home, and it has been fun, but I'd rather still be in the office. Sorry, for those of you who don't know, I'm a physical therapist by trade. That's how I spend most of my days, not, this, but I got nothing to do, and rather be doing something, so still talking sports. All right, why don't we go into all the crazy moves that came up this week. So some of the big ones, we're going to talk about the quarterbacks because that's, and I mean Todd Gurley went to the Falcons. That was a big one too. Anyway, so the Titans agreed to a 4-year deal, $118 million with Ryan Tannehill. If you told me that a year ago, I'd think you were nuts. Tannehill was going to be the backup behind Mariota. He came off the bench, replaced him for the last 10 games of the season. Sorry for the hiccups. Somehow the Titans not only got a playoff berth, but advanced to the AFC Championship game with Tannehill. He had a decent season. 22 touchdowns, 2,742 yards. Granted, again, he didn't play 6 games, so those numbers would be inflated. I think this is a good move for the Titans. I don't want to say it was a smart move. Yes, they could have gone the Tom Brady route. In fact, that's honestly where I thought it was going to go. I'm a little surprised he went to the Bucs, but we'll get there. Mariota, meanwhile, he'll be moving on. We'll get to that. But honestly, a year ago, if you told me Ryan Tannehill was going to get a contract this large, I would have laughed in your face. Kirk Cousins, he's going to extend with the Vikings. No surprise there. He's had a good couple seasons there. The deal's worth $96 million over the next 3 years. Cowboys place a franchise tag on Dak Prescott. Dak is going to get a lot of money this year for someone who did not make the playoffs with their team. He's going to be making a lot for a quarterback. Browns agreed to Case Keenum, 3 years with Case, so he'll help back up Baker Mayfield. I think that's a smart move. Case Keenum's shown he can be a real starter. Baker Mayfield, he still has some learning to do. But yeah, good for Case. He was with the Redskins last season. They were 1-7 before Dwayne Haskins came in to salvage what was left of the season. The Raiders and Mariota agreed to a deal. Mariota's definitely had some ups and downs this year. What was the other one? Chase Daniels. Chase Daniels going to the Lions. That's a 3-year deal. So he's been Mitch Trubisky's backup now for 3 years. And speaking of Trubisky, he may end up becoming a backup to Nick Foles. Yeah, Nick Foles going to the Bears. Good move by them. He really there's unless he gets injured again. He's a great backup quarterback. I never really saw Nick Foles as a starter. Yeah, those games in Philly were amazing. He was fired up. The team was fired up. They did some amazing stuff together. But I think he'll be a great backup to Trubisky. Whether maybe he starts the season as the starter, Nick Foles, and Trubisky comes in later, or vice versa. I don't know. I don't know what the Bears are thinking. Drew Brees returning to the Saints on a 2-year deal. I was not surprised by this at all. Him and Brady, they're in the same conference now, right? They'll be gunning for a touchdown record. It should be fun to watch the next 2 years. Teddy Bridgewater will be replacing Cam Newton as the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. This is a great move by Carolina. Bridgewater, he is fantastic. And yeah, he's had to sit behind Drew Brees for the last 2 years. I was really hoping the Jets would hold on to him, and they didn't. They let him go. But Bridgewater, he has a lot of talent. He has experience in the game. He is fantastic. I think it's a smart move for the Panthers. Phillip Rivers joining the Colts, 1-year deal for $25 million. Listen, Rivers is 38 years old. Yeah, he's had a lot of touchdowns, a lot of passing yards in his career, 59,000 to be exact. Well, that's not exact. It'd be 59,271 if I wanted to be exact. Sorry. 397 touchdowns. That's exact. But really, the Chargers, their window to win a championship closed a few years ago. I think this is the right move for both teams. Letting him move on. Surprised that the Colts really went after him and not Tom Brady. Maybe they just weren't willing to pay Tom Brady what they were going to pay him. That would be my guess if I had to take one. Oh yeah, and the Broncos waived Joe Flacco. And granted, Joe Flacco, he was 2 for 6 in his 8 games that he played for Denver. They 2 and 6, I mean. And then Drew Lock came in. They won 4 games before the end of the season. So the writing was kind of on the wall there. Joe Flacco, he's 35. He's starting to get towards the end of his career too, which is just a shame. But that's the quarterback carousel. Crazy stuff, right? A lot of guys moving around. Still don't know where Cam Newton's going to play yet, so stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for this. I don't know why I said stay tuned. It doesn't matter. We're gonna talk to Joe Calabro. Joe Calabro follows the Patriots for GoLocalProv.com. He's been on the show a couple times. Always a pleasure. So let's kick it out to him. Joe, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
Hey Nick, great to be on with you again. Always a fun time.
I like to think so, at least. So you holding up okay? Your windows aren't boarded up or anything? You're surviving?
Yeah, something like that.
Good. Just the news of Tom Brady to keep you warm, of course.
Yeah, that got us through this week. So we'll see what happens next week. But the Brady stuff got us through this week, starting on Tuesday morning and pretty much carrying right through to Friday when his contract finally came out. And it was funny that me and you talked about via Facebook chat. Me and you talked about doing like a breaking news podcast, and we didn't end up doing it because it really did end up playing out that way. It was like he announced he was leaving New England on Tuesday morning in a letter on Facebook, and then Tuesday night it was officially confirmed by Adam Schefter, or not confirmed but reported by Schefter that he was going to Tampa. But then you didn't hear anything else until like Friday. There was no official announcement. There was no official contract thing until Friday. So it was like, what if Schefter was wrong?
What were we going to do between now and then? I get it.
So it kind of didn't quite play out that way. Unfortunately, it would have been fun to do like a breaking news podcast on a Wednesday night or something, but ended up working out anyway. So anyway, great to be with you, and it's been quite a fascinating a week.
Yeah.
The whole season, but a week anyway.
So what I find really interesting is that you essentially, I wouldn't say predicted this, but you've been talking about this wedge in the Patriots clubhouse for 2 years that I've been doing the show and you've been coming on here. You've been talking about this issue. And now it's almost like it's finally happened. Like, Tom Brady's gone, Belichick's by himself, and there's so many question marks now going into the season.
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. I've been saying he was going to be gone from the beginning of the season. Yeah. From training camp on. I mean, and all the signs were there, right? He negotiated his own contract that didn't allow the Patriots to franchise tag him or transition tag him. By the way, he negotiated the same contract in Tampa. If you look at his contract in Tampa, they can't franchise tag him or trade him either.
Wow.
So he negotiated the same thing in Tampa. And then, he sells his house, or he puts his house on the market. His trainer puts his house on the market.
Yeah.
He steps down from the Best Buddies Boston, which is an organization he's been a big part of for his entire career here, just about. And then, the TB12 therapy store at Gillette Stadium, they used the front of the store, the front of the store used to have a big picture of Tom Brady decked out in like Patriots gear and everything. Mm-hmm. And then one day they just randomly took it down. And I got word of it. Somebody told me that, hey, they took down the Brady poster at TB12. And I went up there the next morning and took it. And sure enough, it was done. I took a picture of it and put a story up that they removed it. And now it's just a generic people working out. There's no pictures of Brady at all.
That's crazy.
And they already I saw this on Twitter. I didn't check for sure, but I'm assuming it's real. They're already selling TB12 Tampa Bay merchandise with the Tampa Bay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, that was quick.
I mean, I'm sure he's known at least for maybe a week or so before the announcement. So they had some time to put together all the merchandise, maybe.
Well, Tampa Bay has been rumored. I think people had a hard time believing he was actually going to go to Tampa Bay because it's Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. But they've been one of the rumors. I mean, they have a good team. Obviously, Jameis Winston had 30 picks and 30 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
And I think they lost. I saw a stat the other day. They lost like 6 games by 1 score?
Yeah, it was something like I think they went 7-9 last year.
But 6 of their losses by like 1 touchdown.
They played a lot of really close games. You put a slightly more talented quarterback, because I'm not going to say that Tom Brady's an amazing quarterback anymore. The guy is above average at best at this point in his career, which is fine. It's still better than Winston. They'll probably get a few more wins out of him.
Yeah, so, I mean, they lose 6 games or whatever the number was, and again, I apologize if it's wrong, but I think it's something like that. They lose 6 games by 1 score, maybe in the final possession. You're telling me that Brady can't go down the field and score on 2 or 3 of those with those receivers? Godwin and Evans, and I know they have 2 tight ends that their names escape me right now, but they have 2 big tight ends that are going to be used this year. I don't even think they had 10 catches last year, those 2 tight ends that they have. And Brady loved his tight ends. So, you're telling me that, Brady can't go down the field and score on, even 2 or 3 of those games, and now all of a sudden, now you're 10-6, and now you're, maybe you're in a playoff spot, or whatever, maybe win the division. I don't know. Who the hell knows?
And I wouldn't be surprised either if the Bucs go out and try to nab someone with a big name, possibly Antonio Brown. I know there were rumors that they were trying to get Todd Gurley, which he ended up going to the Falcons. But I wouldn't be surprised if they got somebody flashy like that to pair with Tom Brady here.
Yeah, and they have those 2 receivers, right? Those Pro Bowl receivers, 1,000-yard receivers, Godwin. Well, I think it's probably going to have to get up as number 12, I'm imagining.
I think they already announced he would be.
Yeah. So I think he'll be giving that up because TB12 has got to be TB12 for the Brands. Then they have Mike Evans, who is a deep threat, who Brady didn't really have here. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, those 2 tight ends are going to be used a lot. Brady throws those tight ends a lot. They'll put in packages for them. One guy that's rumored that they could pick up, but he's not a huge name. But Deion Lewis is a free agent. Deion played with Brady with the Patriots. He's a pass-catching running back that Brady likes, those check-down passes or whatever, screen passes. So they could pick somebody up like that. I don't know if there's any other major free agents out there. Antonio Brown's not coming. He's not going to go to Tampa. He's not going to play. He still hasn't been cleared by the NFL, I don't believe.
Yeah.
So that process is still going on.
think there was I was reading a story this morning on ESPN that the whole thing with Antonio Brown was, almost like a tipping point for Brady. He was excited to finally have a player of his caliber playing for the Patriots, and then one game, they won one great game together, and then obviously all the other things that came out about him, and the Patriots had to get rid of him. But I think if that didn't happen, there's a chance Brady probably could have stayed in New England.
If Antonio Brown doesn't get himself kicked off the team, because don't mistake it, the Patriots had to get rid of him.
Absolutely.
They had to get rid of him. There's no way they could have kept him after all that stuff, and who knows what the heck's going to happen, but they had to get rid of him at that time.
Yeah.
But if he stays, if he keeps his mouth shut for one season, even with the other allegations, because you can, as we've seen, you can postpone that stuff and push it off and appeal, and then the appeal takes another year, and then he could have played the whole year if he just had kept his mouth shut.
You're right.
16 weeks, when you could argue that the Patriots might be in the Super Bowl, and with the way the AFC played out, they might have had home field advantage anyway.
It's a really good point.
With Baltimore crap in their pants and Kansas City looking shaky at times, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But, and they still could have got there if they had beaten, we've talked about this, but they still could have gotten there if they had beaten Miami in the last game of the season. Now you have a bye, and you're not playing division round weekend, and whatever, and maybe that changed everything. But it is fun to look back on that stretch now, and kind of how what it turned into. And now Brady's gone, and the Patriots are looking to move on and rebuild the franchise here. They've also lost a number of other players, by the way.
Yes.
It's not just Brady, but he's obviously the main focus. So it's all interesting how this stuff plays out.
Were you surprised that he chose the Bucks versus some other teams that had come up? I know the Titans were talked about a lot. You had mentioned the 49ers before we started recording.
Was I surprised he chose the Bucks? No, because I'm not sure what other offers he actually had.
It's true.
It hasn't been confirmed what other teams were actually in. I know the Chargers were interested, so I think he chose between the Bucks and the Chargers. But I'm not sure he wanted to go out to the West Coast because he move his family out there and everything. Right. That's a big move. Tampa's a 2-hour plane ride from where they're currently living in New York. But the Chargers reportedly were interested, and they supposedly made him an offer. But when you look at the Bucks contract, you get 2 years, $50 million. $50 million, that's all guaranteed. And then he's got another $9 million in incentives over 2 years, so he can get up to $59 million, over the 2 years if he hits those incentives. Which I'm not 1,000% sure what the incentives are, but with those receivers, he should be able to put up good numbers this year.
Yeah, I would think so. And realistically, he's looking for a team where he gets a lot of say in the players. Who they're signing, who they're playing, what they're doing. As far as,
and Bruce Arians, from what I'm told, is a very quarterback-friendly coach.
Yes.
He worked with Peyton Manning. He worked with a number of guys. I can't rattle them off the top of my head. But he's a quarterback-friendly coach. Their offensive coordinator is Byron Leftwich, the guy that used to play for the Jaguars, I think. He also played for the Steelers, I think, for some time. So, okay, Byron Leftwich. You're out. Tom Brady's in.
They have a great coaching staff.
Sorry, Byron, but Tom will be calling the plays today. Tom will be calling his own plays today.
I've heard that Arians is almost personality-wise almost like the total opposite of Bill Belichick.
Right, he is.
He's a fun guy. He likes to develop close personal relationships with his players, completely unlike Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that's what I'm told, and we'll see how Brady adjusts to that now.
Yeah,
right. That's gonna be an adjustment too, the other way.
Yeah,
right. How's Brady gonna adjust to a guy that's not I don't want to say taskmaster. I don't know if that's the right word, but there's, from what I'm told down in Tampa, their practices aren't like a set schedule. There's not like a set type of thing, and so that's what Brady's been used to for 20 years. So now, how is he gonna adjust his preparation to that, or are they going to adjust to him? Are they going to change and say, okay, we're doing this because this is, we have the Hall of Fame quarterback here, and we're not going to waste these 2 years. we're gonna do what he wants to do. That's
They're all in right now. They're gonna throw everything they can.
The Broncos kind of did that with Peyton Manning a little bit.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning went there. They kind of changed kind of what they were doing, and he was calling the plays, and it ended up they got a Super Bowl out of it. I mean, Manning looked terrible in that Super Bowl. But
I think the difference, though, is that at the time when they brought in Peyton Manning, they already had one of, if not the best defense in the league. And then they built the offense around him. Right now, I wouldn't say the Bucs have an amazing offense, defense. They have some great key players, but they're still missing a few pieces if we're going to call them a Super Bowl contender.
They have a good offense. They have obviously good receivers that we talked about.
Right.
I'm not sure about their defense. I know it was okay last year, I think. But now, Brady's coming in. Now maybe he kind of lifts everybody up. Everyone tries a little harder. The motivation is there. You're not some bottom of the barrel team. Mm-hmm. And now you're going to have big games. I mean, how many primetime games are the Bucs going to have this year? A lot.
Yeah.
It's Monday night, Thursday nights, Sunday at 4. Whatever. They're going to be in primetime a lot with this schedule. And they have the Packers coming in. You have Breeze twice a year.
Yeah.
You have Gurley now playing for Atlanta, and whatever. I mean, I don't think much of the Atlanta Falcons, but I mean, Gurley certainly helps them.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he can stay healthy.
I mean, they have Atlanta has. They're just a team that hasn't been able to put it together the last few years. But I think you really have some exciting games, especially with Breeze and Brady both going after this touchdown record. Over the next few seasons. I think they're going to just retire at the same time at this point.
They both signed 2-year contracts. They're both very similar. So who knows? But it seems like they're scheduling to retire at the same time. But you never know. Breeze is playing in the Dome, and didn't the Saints just signed Emmanuel Sanders, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
So I have Breeze, Brady, Emmanuel Sanders, Todd Gurley, and whatever you think of Matt Ryan is whatever you think of him, but Matt Ryan, what is it that is? Like, hello.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
The NFC South is looking pretty fun.
And you have the Panthers there too. I'm only messing around. All right, so obviously, your line of work, you're mostly focused on the Patriots themselves. Where do the Patriots go from here?
Well, they're going to rebuild. Like I said, they've lost a number of players. They lost Van Noy. He went to Miami. They lost Jamie Collins, and they lost a couple of players to Detroit. So they lost a lot of players. They still have Edelman, but he's 35. And he's
going to be okay for next year.
I mean, he's had surgery. But he's going to be 35. They have running backs in Sonny Michel. They still don't have a tight end. They have Sanu, who was a complete waste last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was funny. Stephon Diggs was traded to Buffalo for a second-round pick, right? Buffalo gave up a second-round pick. The Patriots didn't have a second-round pick because they sent that to Atlanta for Sanu.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, maybe the Patriots could have given up a second-round pick for Stephon Diggs. I'm sure they would have done that easily. That's it? The second-round pick? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's basically what Buffalo gave up. And I think they had a couple late-round picks too, but still.
Right.
And then DeAndre Hopkins gets traded inexcusably from Houston for a running back. Like, that was an awful trade.
Yeah.
So it's like you wonder if the Patriots had more assets, could they have pulled something like that off? And the word on the street is that that's why Brady took so long to make a decision or officially announce the decision to leave, because he was waiting to see if the Patriots were going to make an effort to bring somebody else in. And they didn't really make any effort. There was no reporting of them actually being in contention for any of these people. And so by Monday night, all these guys were signed, or not signed, but reportedly traded for. And then Tuesday morning, he said he's gone. So he met with Kraft on Monday night. He went over to Kraft's house on Monday night. Kraft thought he was coming over to negotiate a deal.
I saw that.
I'm leaving. So supposedly he called Belichick and McDaniels to let them know as well. So that's kind of how that went down. He was kind of waiting to see if the Patriots brought somebody in. They didn't, and so he's like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it played out, reportedly. So now where the Patriots go? You asked. I didn't answer your question.
I said where do they go from here?
Yeah.
Was my question.
They got to rebuild. I think it's a rebuilding process. I think they're going to go with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback. I think they like him. And I think they'll bring in a veteran guy to kind of back him up. Brian Hoyer just got cut by the Colts.
That's a good move.
Was it yesterday he got cut?
Yep.
I think Saturday he got cut. So they don't be surprised if he comes back, or if they bring in another kind of veteran-ish backup that's not going to start, but can be there just to advise, and instead of really a disaster, he can go in and play. One interesting name that's been tossed around is Jacoby Brissett, because now the Colts have Phillip Rivers.
Right.
So now they're going to have to move Jacoby Brissett, maybe bring him back. But I think they're going to go with Stidham. They like Stidham. It's going to be a rebuilding year for them. They lost a lot of guys. They lost a lot of, they have cap problems. And we'll see how they do. But, and see where we are in 2 years, I think Buffalo will be the favorite to win the division. People are still picking the Patriots to win the division somehow. I don't really understand that, but
not after all the defensive players they've lost. If they held most of that team together, I'd say sure, why not? But I agree. I think Buffalo, as much as pains me to say it, Buffalo is the team to beat versus the Jets.
Of course, Buffalo can still turn into Buffalo at any moment. Just because they have all these guys doesn't mean it.
I think the AFC is just going to be terrible this year. All four teams, it's not going to be pretty for any of them. If anyone, obviously one of them has to get to the playoffs, so it'll probably be Buffalo.
But that was the new playoff format. There's an extra team in the playoffs.
Well, that's true.
The new CBA was negotiated. So now there's an extra team in the playoffs, and there's only one bye. So now it's
one bye, extra team per conference, right? And a 17-game season.
Correct.
So that'll be interesting to see too.
Yeah. So it changed a little bit, but although I don't think the 17-game season kicks in this year, I think it's next year.
You might be right on that one.
Because the schedule's already made in advance. The schedules are made in advance of the CBA being negotiated.
Are they planning to do two bye weeks? I know that was talked about previously. I didn't actually see the...
No, I don't think so.
No. I know when they were talking about a 17-game season.
They're most likely doing a 17-game season if you're going to do 2 bye weeks. Just do 16 games and have it, right? You know what I mean? Why do you do
two? Well, then it's 2 more weeks technically of regular season if you have 2 bye weeks. So it's more money for the NFL. That's what it boils down to. And for the networks.
Yeah.
That's what all this boils down to.
It could be, but I think that takes place next season, not necessarily this season. I think the new playoff format is this season. Longer schedule is next season, but it's been an interesting week here. So I think the Patriots are rebuilding. I think Jarrett Stidham is going to be their guy. There's some rumors going around about how they could go get Cam Newton and bring in this guy. They're not bringing in these guys.
No.
Get out of here. Why? If you're going to sign Cam Newton, who I don't think very highly of. Ever since that Super Bowl,
I agree.
If you're going to bring, why don't you just give Tom Brady the contract and bring him back and try to go for one more or something? So they're not going to bring in Cam Newton. Plus, he doesn't fit what Belichick wants to do anyway.
Yeah.
He's a running quarterback. He's not very accurate. He's injured all the time. So
I think this is exactly what Brady and Belichick want. Each one wants to prove they can win without the other one. And
I think there is some of that. I think their relationship got contentious not contentious, but as any relationship does over 20 years, these things never end smoothly. I think there was some of that. I think they respect each other. I think they like each other. I'm sure, they'll patch it up at the end of it all.
Yeah.
I think there was some of that. I think Brady wanted to be treated like, hey, I'm Tom Brady. I'm not just some other random quarterback,
Right.
And I don't think he was necessarily getting that. And plus, the team deteriorated around him year after year. I think a jumping off point of it all was a Super Bowl against the Eagles when Belichick benched Malcolm Butler.
Right.
There's no reason to ever give him for that, by the way. There's no reason ever for him to bench Malcolm Butler in that Super Bowl. And the Patriots end up losing because their defense can't make one stop. And Brady throws for 500 yards and puts up 33 points and loses.
Right.
Super Bowl for no reason. There was no reason for him to lose that Super Bowl. Now, he fumbled at the end, but they
should have won. They should have won the game.
So I think that's a big kicker of it. And then the next year they came back and won, and it was mostly on defense. The offense looked terrible for most of the year.
Right.
They amazingly won that game in Kansas City, and then they held the Rams, the choking Jared Goff Rams, to 3 points. The Jared Goff looked like he was going to crap himself the entire game, basically. But I think that was a jumping off point of it. And then he never got a contract extension. They kept wanting to go year by year, and he wanted a long-term deal. This is going back a couple of years now. After the MVP season where they lost the Super Bowl, he was named MVP. He wanted a contract extension. They said, no, we're going to go year by year. And so they never gave him that long-term extension because he was getting old, and Belichick was kind of skeptical on giving a 40-year-old quarterback a 2-year extension, which you really can't blame him for. Right. In some ways. Because let me say this, I think it was the right move for the Patriots to let him go.
Yeah,
I agree.
It was time.
Is it going to be a long season here in New England for football? Possibly, but maybe Jarrett Stidham can play.
Yeah, you never know.
They don't win the Super Bowl or anything, but there's an extra playoff spot. Maybe Stidham can. The division stinks.
I think they have a decent chance to at least get a wild card.
The Chargers, other than the Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. So if this kid can play, maybe you can grab about 6 or 7 wins, and who the hell knows? And again, I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl. I'm just saying maybe they'll be more competitive than people think. And now they have a tough schedule. They have to play the NFC West. They have to play San Francisco. Jimmy G's coming back this year, so that'll be something to look forward to. So they have a tough schedule, but who knows? So it could be a long season, but at some point, the run was going to end, right? At some point, it's either end this year, next year, or worst case scenario, the year after. So they had to move on at some point. It was going to come. We knew it was coming. I've been saying it all season, and so now it's here. It's a little bit sad, obviously, but sad that Brady's gone. But I think it was the right move. I think the Patriots had to let him walk. You can't give a 43-year-old quarterback a 2-year. It's not reasonable to me. And especially if you're not going to put anything around him. Mohamed Sanu was terrible last year. Edelman is 35. He's had a number of injuries. He has 1 year left on his deal. In fact, if he wasn't an $8 million cap hit, I think the Patriots would have got rid of him too.
He's
an $8 million cap hit. So.
All right.
Yeah, it's been interesting. There's a lot of parts to it, and there's some now. Tampa Bay is going to be the team to watch, and it's going to be fun to see Brady on another team.
It'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah. So it's been a fun week here.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, thank you for joining us, Joe. Always a pleasure.
We have nothing else to do, so.
Yeah. I'm stuck inside all next at least another week, maybe more. So I'm going to enjoy it while I can, talk whatever sports I can, because I can't even watch them on TV.
But there are no sports, no NHL, nothing.
I know.
Me for a while.
Terrible. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. Always a pleasure having you on the show, and hopefully we'll get you back soon.
All right, Nick. Thanks for having me on. I know you have a pizza to get to, so.
I'm starving. I'm pretty sure it's at my front door. All right, well, with that, we are going to close out the show. Special thanks, as usual, to Johanna Drago. She is the content designer, logo designer, and set designer. What is a content designer? That's fine. For this show, she's also my wife, and I love her dearly. The music you hear is a song called Golden Sunrise by Josh Woodward. A link to his website can be found in the show notes. Special thanks, as usual, to our social media warriors, Mary Kay and Gary Albert. Along with Joe Calabro. Thank you, by the way, Joe, for being on the show today. Again, you can find Joe at golocalprov.com. Special thanks to anyone else out there listening. I love it when we have viewers, so please like, share, comment, email, all that fun stuff. And remember, you can email me, Nick. My name is Nick. That is my name. You can email me at sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. Again, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. I love hearing from people, so please let me hear from you. And you can also find me on SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, and the Facebook. Just type in Sports with Nick Drago. That's me. And then, do all the things you like to do. With that, friends, I am exhausted of this entire week of being inside and doing this against my glass window. I just want to be out there having a good time. So maybe this corona thing will end soon. We'll get our sports back, and I can have a somewhat normal summer. Until then, I'll see you all next week, friends. Goodbye, so long, and of course, caw-caw!